The distress beacon had been weak, barely detectable through the cosmic interference that plagued the Outer Rim territories. Ambassador HFY of the Catherian Collective had sent it with trembling claws, knowing it would likely be their final transmission before their colony world of Verdania succumbed to the siege. For 3 months, the hegemony warships had blockaded their planet. No supplies in, no refugees out. The 20,000 Catherians below were slowly starving, their agricultural domes destroyed in the initial bombardment. Children were beginning to show the telltale signs of malnutrition, their usually vibrant blue scales dulling to a sickly gray. "Please," HFY had whispered into the transmitter. "We need food, medical supplies, anything. We are a peaceful research colony. We have done nothing to deserve this fate." The response came 3 weeks later. The first sign wasn't a diplomatic vessel or a relief transport. It was music, a thunderous symphony that seemed to emerge from the void itself, transmitted on every frequency simultaneously. The hegemony blockade ships found their communications jammed by what could only be described as the most aggressively upbeat orchestral arrangement any of them had ever heard. Then came the ships. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, watching as her fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. 50 vessels strong, ranging from massive dreadnoughts to nimble frigates, all bearing the distinctive blue and silver of the Terran Federation's humanitarian fleet. "Captain," her communications officer called out, barely containing his amusement, "we're getting frantic hails from the hegemony vessels. They're demanding to know our intentions." "Tell them," Elena said with a grin that would have made a shark nervous, "that we're here for a potluck." The hegemony Admiral Krokthar had never encountered humans before, but he'd heard the stories. Violent, unpredictable, utterly illogical. Looking at his tactical display, he was inclined to believe those reports. The human fleet had arranged itself in what appeared to be a party formation, if such a thing existed in naval doctrine. "Admiral," his tactical officer reported, voice tinged with confusion. "The lead human vessel is... It's launching what appears to be confetti." "Weapons fire?" "No, sir, actual confetti. Biodegradable, according to our sensors." Admiral Krokthar felt the beginning of what humans might recognize as a migraine. On Verdania's surface, Ambassador HFY received a transmission from the human fleet commander. The hologram that materialized showed a middle-aged human female with graying hair and the kind of smile that suggested she'd seen the worst the galaxy had to offer and decided to laugh at it instead. "Ambassador HFY," Captain Vasquez said, "we received your request for food. We're here to help." "But the blockade—" "What blockade?" The human smile widened impossibly. "I see some ships up here that seem to be confused about party etiquette. We'll sort that out. In the meantime, we're going to need coordinates for your largest open space. We've got a festival to set up." What followed would be recorded in galactic history as either the most brilliantly executed humanitarian mission or the most elaborate prank ever pulled in space. The humans began by sending down massive, atmospheric processors that they claimed were party preparation devices. These machines immediately began purifying Verdania's air and enriching the soil with nutrients that would restore the damaged agricultural zones within months rather than years. Next came the entertainment supplies, prefabricated structures that, when assembled, formed hospitals, schools, and housing units capable of sheltering the entire population in comfort. The humans insisted these were merely stages and vendor booths for their upcoming celebration. The food shipments were labeled as party snacks. Enough high-quality provisions to feed 20,000 Catherians for a year, along with seed stocks and livestock embryos to restart their agricultural systems. Meanwhile, in orbit, Captain Vasquez was having a conversation with Admiral Krokthar that would become the stuff of legend. "You will withdraw immediately," the hegemony commander demanded. "This system is under our jurisdiction." "Oh, I'm sorry," Elena replied, her tone suggesting she was anything but. "I didn't realize you were invited to our party. Do you have your invitation?" "What invitation?" "This is a military operation." "Well, that's awkward. This is clearly a humanitarian festival zone. See, we've got decorations and everything." She gestured to the holographic display showing the confetti clouds still drifting between the ships. "But hey, if you want to crash the party uninvited, we've got party favors for that too." The party favors turned out to be the siege engines. What the humans had initially described as fireworks platforms were, upon closer inspection, orbital bombardment cannons of devastating efficiency. The sound systems for the party were revealed to be sonic weapons capable of disrupting enemy communications and navigation systems across an entire star system. Most concerning of all were the party games. "It's called Pin the Tail on the Donkey," Captain Vasquez explained cheerfully as her weapon systems locked onto every hegemony vessel simultaneously. "The rules are simple. You play the donkey, and we see how many of our targeting systems we can stick to you before you figure out it's time to leave." Admiral Krokthar found himself in the uniquely uncomfortable position of being outgunned by a species that insisted on calling their weapons entertainment devices and their tactical formations dance routines. The final straw came when the humans began deploying their parade floats, massive mechanical constructs that Krokthar's analysts quickly identified as automated mining and construction units. Within hours, they had begun building permanent defensive installations around Verdania, all while playing what the humans claimed was festive background music. "This is insane," Krokthar muttered to his second-in-command. "They're conducting military operations while pretending to throw a party." "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the humans are now asking if we'd like to join them for something called a cookout. They say they're grilling, and they're targeting our engines with what they claim are barbecue marinades." That's when Admiral Krokthar made the wisest decision of his career. He withdrew his fleet. 3 months later, Ambassador HFY stood in the central plaza of New Verdania, watching human children play alongside young Catherians in the rebuilt colony. The humans had kept their word. It had indeed been a festival, one that lasted for weeks and left the planet better than it had ever been before. Captain Vasquez approached, carrying what appeared to be a small potted plant. "A gift," she said, presenting the plant to HFY. "It's called a sunflower. Grows pretty much anywhere, and it always turns toward the light." "Captain," HFY asked, "why did your people do all this? We asked for food and you gave us a new world." Elena smiled, that same shark-like grin that had terrified Admiral Krokthar. "Well, Ambassador, we figured if we were going to crash a blockade party, we might as well bring party favors that would really make an impression." As the human fleet prepared to depart, their ships once again filling space with confetti and music, HFY realized something important about humanity. They were the kind of species that would travel across the galaxy not just to feed the hungry, but to throw them the best damn party the universe had ever seen while doing it. And if anyone tried to stop them, well, they came prepared for that kind of party too.